Aliens weren't prepared for human camouflage tactics. Part 1. First contact gone. Wrong Lieutenant Sam Russell wiped sweat from his forehead as he stepped off the landing shuttle. The air on Veritas 9 was thick and humid. Dense forest stretched in all directions from the small clearing where the human expedition had landed. Tall trees with blue-green leaves blocked much of the sunlight, creating a shadowy world below. "Beautiful planet," said Captain Diana Lawson, stepping up beside him. "Perfect for our research station." Sam nodded. "Good cover too, natural protection." Diana smiled at her security officer's constant focus on safety. "That's why I wanted you on this mission, Sam. 20 years in wilderness operations makes you perfect for establishing our perimeter." The expedition team of 30 researchers and 10 security personnel moved quickly to set up their base camp. They had been on Veritas 9 for just 3 days. The planet seemed perfect, rich with plant life, clean water, and no large predators. No one had claimed this sector of space according to Earth's records. What the humans didn't know was that the Galactic Hegemony had recently marked this sector as their territory. They had no permanent bases yet, but their scout ships patrolled regularly. On the 4th day, Sam was teaching Private Frank Miller how to set motion sensors at the forest edge when his radio crackled. "Lieutenant Russell, Captain Lawson needs you at base immediately," came the urgent voice of the communications officer. When Sam arrived, Diana's face was grim. "Our long-range sensors picked up 3 ships entering orbit. They're not human design." Sam's training kicked in. "First contact situation. Should we prepare a welcome team?" Diana nodded. "I've already selected the diplomatic group. Dr. Harper will lead with support from science and communications. I want you to quietly prepare security positions just in case." The alien ship sent down a single shuttle. Through binoculars, Sam watched as strange figures emerged. They walked on 6 legs, with bodies like a cross between spiders and lizards. Their skin gleamed with what looked like metal plates. The human diplomatic team stepped forward, hands empty, making greeting gestures. Dr. Harper spoke into a universal translator that broadcast his words in various frequencies and patterns. "We come in peace. We are researchers from Earth seeking knowledge and friendship." The aliens huddled together, their limbs moving in strange patterns. Then, without warning, one raised a device. A flash of light erupted. 2 human diplomats fell. "Take cover," Sam shouted into his radio. "All personnel retreat to the forest. Edge, hostiles at landing site." Captain Lawson's voice came through, calm despite the crisis. "All expedition members, this is not a drill. Fall back to emergency positions. Security team, covering fire for retreating personnel." The aliens advanced, firing strange weapons that burned through trees and equipment. Sam organized his security team into a defensive line, buying time for researchers to grab essential supplies and flee. "We can't win a direct fight," Sam told Diana when she reached his position. "They have better weapons and armor." Diana looked at the burning ruins of their camp. "We need to survive until rescue. Earth doesn't even know we need help yet." "The forest," Sam said, looking at the dense trees. "It's our only chance." Diana nodded and gave the order. "All personnel, abandon base. Scatter into small groups. Move deep into the forest. Lieutenant Russell will coordinate from emergency. Channel 3. Sam gathered his group, Private Miller, Dr. Olivia Grant, and 2 other researchers. "Follow me and do exactly what I say." They ran through the undergrowth as alien craft buzzed overhead. Sam led them to a small stream. "Into the water," he ordered. "It will hide our heat signatures." The group waded upstream for nearly a mile before Sam directed them to a muddy bank. "Everyone, cover yourselves in mud. Face, hands, all exposed skin." Dr. Grant looked disgusted. "Is this really necessary?" "Those aren't just metal suits they're wearing," Sam explained as he smeared dark mud over his face. "I think that's their actual skin. They're probably using infrared vision to track us. This mud will cool our skin and break up our outlines." Private Miller, who had grown up hunting in the mountains, quickly understood. Like deer hunting, you mask your scent and break up your shape. Exactly, Sam said. Now gather leaves, branches, anything to disrupt your human outline. Within 20 minutes, they looked like moving piles of forest debris. Sam contacted other groups on the secure channel, teaching them the same techniques. An alien patrol passed, less than 30 feet from their position. The creatures moved their heads back and forth, scanning with multifaceted eyes. One looked directly at where Sam was crouched, completely still, covered in mud and leaves. After a moment, it turned. Away. They can't see us, whispered Miller in amazement. Over the next few hours, they made contact with other survivor groups. Sam taught everyone his camouflage tricks. By nightfall, the human expedition had transformed into forest ghosts. Captain Lawson established a hidden command post in a small cave. We've counted at least 40 alien soldiers, she told Sam when his group arrived. They've set up a base where our camp was and have search parties combing the forest. But they're not finding us, Sam said. I watched them walk right past. Martinez's group. They rely too much on their technology. Their actual vision must be very different from ours. Dr. Grant had been studying the aliens through a small scope. I think they see primarily in infrared and ultraviolet. They're missing the spectrum of light that humans use most. Sam nodded thoughtfully. That's why our camouflage works so well. We're hiding in the part of the light spectrum they don't process correctly. Captain Lawson looked at the mud-covered survivors gathered in the cave. So we have an advantage they aren't prepared for. Humans have been hiding from predators and enemies since we first walked the Earth, Sam said. It's in our blood. These aliens rely on technology and seem confused by our primitive techniques. One of the communication technicians rushed over. Captain, I've managed to boost a signal. The emergency beacon is transmitting to Earth, but it will be at least 2 weeks before any rescue could arrive. Diana's face was determined. Then we survived for 2 weeks. Russell, you're now in charge of all ground operations. Teach everyone how to disappear. Sam looked at the frightened but resolute faces around him. First rule of survival: become part of the environment. We don't just hide in the forest, we become the forest. Outside they could hear the strange clicking sounds of alien search parties. But within the cave, the humans prepared for a different kind of war than the aliens expected. One where the most primitive human skills would prove more valuable than advanced technology. Lieutenant Russell smiled grimly as he gathered more mud. They weren't prepared for this. They have no idea what humans can do when we need to survive. Aliens weren't prepared for human camouflage tactics. Part 2. Understanding the enemy. 7 days had passed since the alien attack. The humans had settled into a routine of hiding, watching, and learning. Their cave headquarters had expanded into a network of smaller caves and hidden camps spread throughout the forest. Sam Russell crouched in the high branches of a tree, covered in a mixture of mud and crushed leaves. He had been there for 4 hours, perfectly still, watching the alien base. Below him, an alien patrol passed for the 3rd time, never looking up. They don't think in 3 dimensions, Sam whispered to himself. This was just one of many weaknesses he had discovered. When darkness fell, Sam climbed down and made his way back to the main cave. Captain Lawson and Dr. Olivia Grant were waiting for his report. Their patrols are becoming predictable, Sam said, washing some of the mud from his hands. They follow the same paths at the same times, and they never look up. That fits with what we've learned about their biology, Dr. Grant said. She pointed to crude drawings she had made based on observations. Their eyes are on the sides of their heads, good for spotting movement to their left and right, but poor vision above or directly behind them. Captain Lawson nodded. Any sign they've found any of our people? None, Sam replied. Our camouflage techniques are working. The mud blocks our heat signatures, and the plant coverings break up our outlines. When we stay still, we're invisible to them. Sergeant Alan Peterson entered the cave. His normally clean uniform was now a mess of dried mud and plant matter, just like everyone else's. I've got something important, he said with excitement. I managed to tap into their communications. Everyone gathered around as Peterson set up a small device he had built from parts of their damaged equipment. I can't understand their language, Peterson explained, but I can track their communications patterns. They're frustrated. They keep scanning the area but finding nothing. They think we left? Captain Lawson asked. Peterson shook his head. No. They've set up a blockade in orbit. They know we're here. They just can't find us. Dr. Grant had been studying samples of alien blood and tissue they had collected from a skirmish site. I've confirmed my theory about their vision. They see primarily in infrared and ultraviolet spectrums. They barely register what we call visible light. So they track heat and special patterns, but don't see shapes the way we do, Sam said thoughtfully. That's why the mud works so well. It cools our external temperature and blocks our body heat. And why they can't distinguish us from the forest when we're covered in leaves, added Private Miller. Captain Lawson stood up. We need to do more than hide. We need supplies, and we need to understand their technology better if we're going to survive until rescue arrives. Sam nodded. I've been thinking about that. Their regular patrols give us opportunities. I want to try something tonight. After explaining his plan, Sam selected Private Miller and 2 others for the mission. They covered themselves thoroughly in fresh mud, then added a new element, stripes of dark and light mud to break up their outlines even further. Animals with stripes are harder to spot when they move, Sam explained. The stripes confuse the eye about their direction and speed. Under the cover of darkness, the small team moved toward the alien camp. They stayed low, crawling when they had to cross open areas. When alien sentries passed, they froze, becoming just more lumps in the forest floor. At the edge of the camp, they found what Sam had spotted during his observations, a storage area for supplies. 2 aliens stood guard, their metal-like skin reflecting the strange lights of their camp. Sam pointed to a patch of deep shadows and the team moved into position. He pulled out a small pouch of pebbles he had collected and threw one far to the right. The sound drew the attention of one guard, who moved to investigate. The second guard remained, scanning back and forth with a device in its clawed hand. Sam threw another pebble closer to the first. The second guard clicked something into a device on its arm, then moved to join the first. Now, Sam whispered. The team slipped from the shadows and moved quickly to the supply containers. They worked silently, taking only what they could carry. Small devices, containers of liquid, and what looked like food packets. As they prepared to retreat, Sam spotted something else. An alien lying on a table in what appeared to be a medical area. It wasn't moving. Cover me, he whispered and moved toward it. The alien was dead, its body being examined by what must be their version of a doctor. Sam watched as the alien doctor removed parts and studied them under devices that emitted strange light. They're trying to understand why their scanners aren't working on us, Sam realized. He signaled to his team and they retreated back into the forest. When they returned to the cave, Dr. Grant was thrilled with the samples they had brought. This is incredible, she said, examining the alien technology. Their devices all operate in the same spectrums they see in infrared and ultraviolet, nothing for visible light. Can we use that? Captain Lawson asked. Dr. Grant smiled. I think so. I can modify some of our remaining equipment to send false readings in their detection spectrums. Sergeant Peterson had made another discovery. I've been listening to their communications patterns. There's a new set of signals coming from orbit. I think they're bringing in reinforcements. Captain Lawson looked grim. They're taking us more seriously now. Russell, what else did you see in their camp? Sam described the dead alien being examined. They're confused by us. They don't understand why their technology can't find us. I think they believe we have advanced cloaking technology. Private Miller laughed. If they only knew it was just mud and leaves. That gives us an advantage, Sam said. They're looking for high-tech solutions to counter what they think is our high-tech cloaking. They won't expect simple traps and ambushes. Captain, Lawson stood up. We need to do more than hide and scavenge. We need to make them fear the forest itself. Sam nodded. I have some ideas about that. If Dr. Grant can create those false infrared signatures, we can lead their patrols into natural hazards. Make them think we're somewhere we're not. Psychological warfare, Dr. Grant said with understanding. Exactly, Sam replied. Humans have been using camouflage and misdirection to hunt and fight for thousands of years. It's time to show these aliens why they should have studied Earth's military history before attacking us. As the humans planned their counterattack, more alien ships arrived in orbit. Among them was a special research vessel, carrying an alien scientist named Grizel, who had one mission: to solve the mystery of the disappearing humans. Aliens weren't prepared for human camouflage tactics. Part 3. Turning the tables, 2 weeks had passed since the initial attack. The human survivors had transformed from frightened refugees into forest warriors. Their rescue was delayed, Captain. Lawson had received a brief message that help was coming, but it would take another week due to hegemony ships blocking the direct routes to Veritas 9. The morning sun filtered through the blue-green leaves as Sam Russell met with his newly formed strike teams. Each person was covered in different patterns of mud and plant materials. Some had stripes, others had spots, and a few were wrapped in vines that made them look like walking bushes. Remember, never move in straight lines, Sam told them. Always. Pause after every few steps. Nature doesn't move in straight lines. Corporal Heather Jackson, who had been a demolitions expert on the Pathfinder, demonstrated her latest creation. I've taken apart the power cells from the alien devices we captured. They create a nice bang when the containment field is breached. She held up what looked like a small bundle of leaves and twigs. Pressure trigger underneath. When they step on it, boom. Lieutenant Eric Martinez had arrived from one of the smaller outposts. He had been a tactical officer on the Pathfinder before. It was destroyed in orbit. The new alien commander is called Zikavar. Peterson translated some of their communications. He's promised his leaders he'll find us within 5 days. He won't, Sam said with confidence. They still don't understand what they're dealing with. Has Dr. Grant finished her project? Martinez nodded. She has. The heat decoys are ready. The aliens had grown increasingly frustrated with their inability to find the humans. They had brought in specialized hunting units with enhanced sensors, but even these were fooled by the humans' camouflage techniques. Several alien patrols had fallen into hidden pits or been injured by simple traps. That afternoon, a new alien shuttle landed at their base. A tall figure emerged, its skin more metallic than the others. Commander Zakavar had arrived to personally lead the hunt. Sam and Martinez watched from their hidden observation post as Zakavar berated the other aliens. Even without understanding their language, the body language was clear. The commander was not happy. Time to welcome him properly, Martinez said with a grim smile. That night, Dr. Grant's decoys were put into action. Small devices that emitted heat signatures similar to humans were placed in strategic locations. Some were attached to local wildlife, others to floating logs in the river. When the alien patrols detected these heat signatures, they rushed to investigate, only to find nothing but forest creatures or inanimate objects. False trails led them into swampy areas or dense underbrush full of sharp thorns. From his command center, Commander Zikavar became increasingly agitated as his troops reported failure after failure. The humans seemed to appear and disappear at will. Sensors would detect them in multiple locations simultaneously, only to find nothing when troops arrived. They're starting to shoot at shadows, Sam told Captain Lawson as they watched an alien patrol fire weapons at a rustling bush that contained only a small forest animal. They're getting scared. Captain Lawson nodded. Good. But we need more than just fear. We need a way off this planet. Heather Jackson had been studying the alien shuttle designs. I think I could fly one of their smaller craft, she said. Before I became a demolitions expert, I was a pilot. The controls look alien, but the principles should be the same. We need to capture one intact, Sam said thoughtfully. That means we need a bigger distraction than we've ever created before. Lieutenant Martinez pointed to the alien base on their crude map. They've been storing fuel cells here at the east side of their camp. If Jackson's explosives could rupture those, we'd need perfect timing, Sam said, and a way to get a team to the shuttle landing area during the chaos. The plan took 2 days to prepare. Every human on Veritas 9 would play a role. Dr. Grant created dozens more heat decoys. Heather Jackson prepared all remaining explosives. Martinez trained a special team to rush the shuttle area. The night before the operation, Commander Zekovar made a decision that played directly into human hands. Frustrated by the forest that seemed to hide the humans, he ordered sections of it burned away to eliminate cover. Alien troops moved out with flame weapons, setting fire to the edges of the forest. They didn't realize that Sam had anticipated this tactic. The humans had already cleared fire breaks and prepared escape routes, as sections of forest burned, creating enormous heat signatures that confused alien sensors. Sam gave the signal to begin their counterattack. The first phase involved all the remaining heat decoys being activated simultaneously in a ring around the alien base. Alien troops rushed in all directions, chasing phantom humans. During the confusion, Corporal Jackson and a small team crept to the fuel storage area. They placed their improvised explosives and retreated to safe positions. When the explosives detonated, the entire eastern section of the alien base erupted in blue-green flames. Commander Zekovar ordered all troops to battle the fire. In that moment, Martinez led his team toward the shuttle area. They moved like shadows despite the bright firelight, their camouflage patterns breaking up their outlines even in the uneven light. 2 alien guards spotted movement and fired, but the humans had already split up, moving in irregular patterns that made them nearly impossible to track. Martinez threw a small stone behind one guard, who spun to face the noise. In that moment, Martinez rushed forward using a weapon they had fashioned from alien parts to stun the guard. The second guard raised an alarm, but the chaos of the fire meant no one paid attention to yet another alert. Jackson reached the team and quickly examined the smallest shuttle. "I can fly this," she confirmed after studying the controls. Sam's voice came through on their communicators. "More troops heading your way. You have 2 minutes maximum." Martinez looked at the group of 6 humans ready to take the shuttle. "That's not enough time to get everyone aboard. But it's enough time for you to get Captain Lawson the information she needs," Jackson replied. She handed him a data device they had removed from an alien computer. "All the hegemony fleet positions. Get this to her." Martinez understood. They couldn't all escape, but the information could save everyone. "We'll be back for you," he promised. Jackson smiled as she began powering up the shuttle. "We'll keep them busy until then." As Martinez and his team retreated into the forest with the stolen data, Jackson's shuttle rose from the landing area. Alien weapons fired at it, but she piloted with skill, weaving through the shots and accelerating into the night sky. Commander Zekovar watched in fury as the shuttle disappeared. He didn't know if humans were aboard or where it was going, but he knew one thing: these primitive humans had humiliated his forces yet again. In the forest, Sam gathered the remaining humans. "Phase 1 complete," he said. "Now we make them really afraid of the dark." Aliens weren't prepared for human camouflage tactics. Part 4. The Counterattack. The stolen alien shuttle emerged from the atmosphere of Veritas 9 with hegemony fighters in pursuit. Lieutenant Martinez knew they had only one chance to transmit the data before they were captured or destroyed. "Sending emergency burst transmission on all Earth frequencies," he said, activating the device they had prepared. The data package containing the hegemony fleet positions streamed out into space, aimed toward the expected approach vector of human reinforcements. The alien fighters closed in. Martinez had no weapons to fight back. The shuttle shuddered as a warning shot passed close by. "Transmission complete," one of his team members announced. Martinez nodded grimly. "Prepare to be boarded." Back on the planet's surface, Sam Russell and the remaining humans had scattered after the raid on the alien base. They had split into 12 small groups, each using different camouflage techniques adapted to their specific hiding areas. Sam's group had moved into the highlands where the rocky terrain offered new challenges and opportunities. They covered themselves in clay and crushed stone dust, becoming nearly invisible against the rocky outcroppings. Through Sergeant Peterson's monitoring of alien communications, they learned that Martinez and his team had been captured but were being kept alive for questioning. The aliens wanted to understand how humans could evade their sensors so effectively. "They think we have some advanced technology," Peterson explained to Sam and Captain Lawson in their new cave headquarters. "They can't believe it's just mud and plants and staying still." Captain Lawson studied their crude map. The data Martinez sent should reach any human ships approaching the system. Now we need to be ready when help arrives. The aliens are bringing in more forces, Sam noted. They're taking us much more seriously now. Intelligence gathered by their observation teams confirmed this. A large hegemony warship had arrived in orbit. The aliens were setting up new outposts across the planet, trying to establish a tighter search grid. Commander Zuckavar had been replaced by a higher-ranking officer, High Commander Exkatar, a veteran of many campaigns against other species. Unlike Zuckavar, Exkatar studied his enemy carefully before acting. The humans noticed a change in alien tactics. The search parties moved more carefully, checking areas multiple times. They began using different sensor types together, making it harder for simple camouflage to fool them all. They're adapting, Sam told his team. We need to adapt faster. Dr. Grant had been studying the alien technology they had captured. She called Sam and Captain Lawson to her work area in the cave. I've figured something out, she said excitedly. Their visual systems are partly biological and partly technological. The metal we see isn't armor, it's their actual skin. But they enhance their vision with implants that operate on specific frequencies. She held up a small device she had built. This emits radiation on exactly those frequencies. It doesn't harm them, but it creates a kind of static in their vision. Sam immediately saw the potential. So we could carry these and be even harder to see? Better than that, Dr. Grant said. I think we can tune them to make certain patterns completely invisible to their enhanced vision. Like a blind spot. Captain Lawson looked impressed. How many can you make? With the parts we have, maybe 15, but they'll only work at close range. Sam thought for a moment. That's enough. We don't need to equip everyone, just the strike teams. Over the next 3 days, the humans refined their tactics. Dr. Grant's devices were given to the most skilled team members. They practiced moving in the blind spots of alien vision, becoming even more ghost-like. On the 4th day after the shuttle escape, their patience was rewarded. Peterson picked up new signals from space. Human ships, he announced. At least 3 vessels approaching the system. They're challenging the hegemony blockade. Captain Lawson gathered everyone. This is it. Our rescue is coming, but they're outnumbered. We need to help from the ground. Sam outlined the plan. The hegemony has set up 4 ground-to-space weapon platforms. They'll use these against our ships. We need to disable them simultaneously. Teams were assigned to each platform. Sam would lead the attack on the main site where High Commander Exkatar had established his headquarters. As darkness fell, Sam's team moved through the forest toward their target. They were nearly invisible, their bodies covered in specialized camouflage. Some had stripe patterns, others had irregular blotches. All carried Dr. Grant's interference devices. They reached the perimeter fence. Alien guards patrolled with enhanced sensors, but the humans moved through their blind spots, exploiting the weaknesses Dr. Grant had identified. Sam froze as a guard, looked directly at him, then watched in amazement as the alien's gaze slid past without registering his presence. The interference device worked perfectly. They reached the main control building. Sam gave the signal, and the other teams confirmed they were in position at the other weapons platforms. Now, Sam whispered into his communicator. Across all 4 sites, the humans struck simultaneously. At the smaller platforms, they used Jackson's explosive devices to destroy the control systems. At the main site, Sam's team needed a more subtle approach. They needed access to the central computer to send false data to the hegemony fleet. 2 humans created a distraction by setting off small explosives at the far end of the compound. As aliens rushed to respond, Sam and 3 others slipped inside the main building. They encountered 2 guards in the hallway. Before the aliens could react, Sam activated his interference device at maximum power. The aliens froze, their visual systems overwhelmed by static. Sam's team quickly subdued them. They reached the control center. Dr. Grant had prepared a data package designed to corrupt the targeting systems of the ground-to-space weapons. Sam inserted it into what they believed was the main console. Alarms began to sound. Time to go, Sam ordered. As they retreated, they heard the confused shouts of aliens trying to restore their systems. Outside, chaos had erupted as the other human teams completed their sabotage missions. Sam's team was halfway back to the forest edge when High Commander Qatar himself emerged from a building, surrounded by elite guards. The High Commander pointed, directly at Sam despite his camouflage. "He can see us," Sam realized with shock. "Fall back." The elite guards fired strange weapons that sent waves of energy across the ground. One hit a member of Sam's team who collapsed instantly. Sam activated his interference device and fired back with a captured alien weapon. The guards scattered, but Qatar stood his ground, his metallic skin gleaming in the artificial light. "You are impressive for primitives," Qatar said in broken human language. "But your tricks will not save you." Above them, the sky lit up with flashes of light as human and hegemony ships engaged in battle. The ground weapons remained silent, their targeting systems corrupted by the human sabotage. Sam backed toward the forest, his team protecting their fallen comrade. "Our tricks have worked well enough so far," he called back to Qatar. "You weren't prepared for humans." The ground shook as something massive dropped through the atmosphere. A human assault shuttle, much larger than anything they had seen before, burst through the clouds above them. It fired precision weapons at the alien headquarters, forcing Qatar and his guards to retreat. The shuttle landed near Sam's position. The door opened to reveal Commander Keith Walsh in combat armor. "Lieutenant Russell?" Walsh called out. "Captain, Lawson sent us your coordinates. Time to get you off this rock." Sam looked back at the burning alien base. "Not yet, sir. We still have people to save." Aliens weren't prepared for human camouflage tactics, Part 5. A new understanding. Commander Keith Walsh looked at Sam Russell with surprise. "People to save? We thought Captain Lawson's group was all that remained." "Lieutenant Martinez and his team were captured when they sent you the fleet data," Sam explained quickly. "They're being held in the main hegemony ship in orbit. We need to get them out." Walsh hesitated, then nodded. "My orders are to extract all survivors. That includes prisoners." He tapped his communication device. "Admiral, we have a situation." The battle in orbit continued as more human ships arrived. They were still outnumbered by the hegemony fleet, but the element of surprise had given them an advantage. The corrupted targeting systems of the ground weapons had prevented the aliens from coordinating their defense effectively. Captain Lawson and the remaining humans were brought to the human assault ship, Defender. In the ship's briefing room, Admiral Pamela Carter listened to their story with growing amazement. "You survived 3 weeks against a superior force using mud and leaves as camouflage?" she asked, looking at the dirt-covered survivors. Captain Lawson nodded. "Lieutenant Russell's wilderness training saved us all. The aliens rely too heavily on technology. They weren't prepared for human adaptability." Admiral Carter turned to Sam. "And now you want to rescue your captured teammates from the hegemony flagship? That's the most heavily defended ship in their fleet." "Yes, ma'am," Sam said without hesitation. "And I know how we can do it." Sam explained his plan. The Admiral looked skeptical but finally agreed. "It's crazy enough that it might work. The hegemony won't expect it." Dr. Nathan Boyd, the Defender's chief scientist, was brought in to help. He examined Dr. Grant's interference devices with fascination. "Brilliant work," he told her. "I can enhance these with our ship's resources. Give me 4 hours." While the scientists worked, Sam selected a small team for the rescue mission. They would use a captured hegemony shuttle to approach the flagship under the pretense of bringing important prisoners. "The key is to make them see what they expect to see," Sam explained to his team. "They expect humans to use technology to hide, so we'll give them exactly what they expect." Dr. Boyd and Dr. Grant returned with improved interference, devices, and something new: adaptive camouflage suits. "These suits can change color and pattern," Dr. Boyd explained. "Combined with the interference devices, they should create complete visual confusion for hegemony observers." The human fleet engaged the hegemony ships in a coordinated attack, drawing attention away from the captured shuttle as it approached the flagship. Inside the shuttle, Sam and his team prepared for their most dangerous mission yet. "Remember, move like you belong there. Sam told everyone. The hegemony thinks humans are primitive. They won't expect us to be on their ship. The shuttle docked without incident. When the door opened, 2 hegemony guards found what appeared to be more of their own kind escorting human prisoners. In reality, it was Sam's team wearing the adaptive camouflage suits, which mimicked hegemony appearance perfectly. The interference devices confused the guards' enhanced vision just enough to prevent them from noticing small discrepancies. Sam and his team were walked right into the flagship by the confused guards. Once inside, they used Dr. Grant's data to locate the detention level. The ship was enormous, with hundreds of aliens moving through the corridors. The human team moved, confidently, their camouflage changing to match whatever section of the ship they entered. They reached the detention level and found it heavily guarded. Sam activated his enhanced interference device, creating visual static that confused the guards long enough for his team to subdue them. Inside the detention area, they found Lieutenant Martinez and his team in separate cells. They quickly freed them. "Russell?" Martinez said in disbelief. "How did you get here, and what are you wearing?" "Adaptive camouflage," Sam explained as he handed extra suits to the freed prisoners. "Put these on. We're walking out of here in plain sight." As they prepared to leave, alarms began to sound throughout the ship. A voice spoke in the alien language, then switched to broken English. "Attention humans, we know you are aboard. Surrender. Now." It was High Commander X Qatar. Somehow he had discovered their presence. "Change of plans," Sam said. "We head for the bridge." "The bridge?" Martinez asked in shock. "That's suicide." "No," Sam replied. "It's the last thing they'll expect. Trust me." The expanded team moved through the ship, their camouflage constantly adapting. When they encountered alien patrols, they simply walked past, appearing as nothing unusual thanks to the interference devices. They reached the command level of the ship. Here, the security was tightest, but also the most routine. The guards weren't expecting threats to come from inside. Sam's team reached the bridge doors. "Now we make our entrance," he said. "Maximum interference." All team members activated their devices at full power. They burst onto the bridge, creating complete visual chaos for the hegemony officers. In the center stood High Commander X Qatar. Unlike the others, he seemed less affected by the interference. "Impressive," he said, looking directly at Sam despite the camouflage. "You humans are full of surprises." Sam stepped forward, deactivating his camouflage to reveal his human form. "We don't want to fight you, Commander. We just want to leave in peace." "After you invaded our territory?" X Qatar replied. "We didn't know this was claimed space," Sam explained. "There were no markers, no beacons. We came as explorers, not invaders." X Qatar considered this. "Your species is dangerous. You hide in ways we cannot detect. Your ships fight with unexpected tactics." At that moment, a communication officer spoke urgently to X Qatar. The battle outside had turned decisively in the humans' favor. More Earthships had arrived. X Qatar looked at Sam with new respect. "Perhaps there is another way to resolve this." 3 hours later, Sam stood in the Defenders conference room alongside Admiral Carter and newly arrived Ambassador Lisa Carter. Across from them sat High Commander X Qatar and 3 hegemony officials. Ambassador Carter spoke first. "We propose a boundary agreement. This sector becomes a neutral zone between our territories. No military bases, but shared scientific outposts are permitted." X Qatar looked at Sam. "And will you teach us your camouflage techniques?" Sam smiled. "They're not really techniques. It's how humans have survived for thousands of years on our planet. We use what's available and adapt to our surroundings." "That is the technique," X Qatar replied. "Adaptation. My species relies too heavily on technology. We have forgotten the natural ways." The treaty was signed that day. Both sides agreed to withdraw military forces from the sector. The planet Veritas 9 would become the site of the first joint human hegemony research station. As Sam prepared to return to Earth aboard the Defender, Captain Lawson found him looking out a viewport at the blue-green world below. "You saved us all," she said. Your wilderness training turned out to be more valuable than all our technology. Sam shook his head. Not more valuable, just different. The combination of both is what really worked. The hegemony has requested you return as an instructor, Captain Lawson told him. They want to learn human camouflage techniques, Sam laughed. I never thought mud and leaves would become interstellar diplomacy tools. On the hegemony flagship, High Commander X Qatar studied the reports from the planet. Humans had survived and thrived using the simplest of materials, adapting to conditions that should have killed them. Study everything, he ordered his science team. The humans' advantage wasn't technology. It was their connection to the natural world and their ability to become part of it. He looked at a sample of mud and leaves brought from the planet's surface. The oldest techniques can sometimes be the most effective. We weren't prepared for humans because we forgot our own past. As both fleets departed from Veritas 9, leaving only the joint research team behind, a new understanding had been reached. Sometimes the greatest advantage isn't the most advanced technology, but the ability to adapt and use what nature provides. And in that, humans had proven themselves masters.